Power and Corruption, The Matrix of the Master and Slave by Indigo Smith. From September this month, 2017. From the Wake Up World website. Civil disobedience, question authority. Disobedience, in the eyes of anyone who has read history, is man's original virtue. It is through disobedience and rebellion that progress has been made. Oscar Wilde. Despite infinite variation in political thinking and being, there are four types of thinkers in our society: idiots, zealots, elitists, and patriots. One can observe there are four types of institutions as well: government, religious, corporate, and media, of many shades of variation. And there are four types of lies those institutions use to corrupt and control our thinking and being. Government institutions corrupt culture. Religious institutions corrupt spirituality. Corporate institutions corrupt trade, and media institutions corrupt thinking. Today, such institutional corruption is rampant to the point that it has become unspoken normalcy, and speaking up to it is quietly viewed as disruption, dissent. In a just world where righteousness was the norm, police officers would be peacekeepers upholding just laws, and legality would run its course parallel with morality. Government would govern for the people. Media would share information accurately and freely without bias. Religious institutions would promote spiritual individuation. But the level of corruption is essentially relative to the level of comprehension of the population. Are you saying we're stupid? Corruption cannot flourish in a transparent, well-informed society. The more aware a community is of the functions of their institutions, the more the community demands that legality runs parallel with morality, etc. Essentially, corrupt institutions, to one extent or another, enslave individuals to those institutions. Institutions first become corrupted by individuals, and over time, these institutions are used to further corrupt the individuals in that society. Our institutions are designed to limit our access to knowledge and therefore our thinking, and promote zealotry and elitism as the new political ideal. And as a result, many in our society are unable to comprehend the difference between legal and moral, much less why the two have diverged. There really is no need to conduct extensive research or to formulate the vast conspiracy theory as it concerns the matter of corrupt institutions enslaving individuals. It merely requires objective observation from our present reality and a slight understanding of the past. As the Ice-T song of the same name says, everything's corrupt. Whether the slavery is literal or mental imprisonment or debt servitude or spiritual co-option or mass psychological manipulation, the result, terminology aside, is slavery. If you want a vision of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever, said George Orwell as O'Brien in 1984. Yes, institutions enslave individuals. Rather than point out legitimate observations by contemporary individuals unfettered by the said institutions, perhaps it is wise to take retrospect at exactly what great thinkers of the Western world have said. Lord Acton, John Dalbert Acton, was a writer and politician, lived from 1834 to 1902, and his words are part of a foundation thought pattern wherever people consciously desire to reform our institutions to serve liberty and fairness. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. I cannot accept your canon that we are to judge Pope and King unlike other men with favorable presumption that they did no wrong. If there is any presumption, it is the other way against the holders of power, increasing as the power increases. Historic responsibility has to make up for the want of legal responsibility. There is no worse heresy than that the office sanctifies the holder of it. Finding truth in corruption is like finding clean water in an industrialized society. The best technique for finding truth amidst corruption is to eliminate preconceptions as much as possible and simplify the contemplation of reality. Mostly, the corruption that Lord Acton points out exerts control by distorting the perception and therefore the reality that it manifests. Take a new look at what the Buddhists refer to as the beginner's mind. This technique approaches all things with the innocent questioning of a child. The gulf between the haves and the have-nots is wider than ever. George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, the philosopher best known for conceptualizing the Hegelian dialect, problem-reaction-solution, as we know it. In an extraordinary exploration of world history and the evolution of human consciousness, Hegel's theory presents an extraordinary, compelling truth. The world is made up of masters and slaves, and neither will ever become conscious unless this pattern is broken and remade. Moreover, the more conscious individuals are, the less likely they will enslave others or accept enslavement. Indeed, the observation with the beginner's mind, or observing as though blind, certainly points to this dynamic. The core presentation of the Hegelian philosophy of the master and slave is that when one consciousness meets the other, the stronger one will enslave the other. If the slave does not revolt, this status quo will remain, and neither becomes conscious. If the slave becomes conscious, there is revolution. Only when someone stands up and curses, "F the authorities," is either party compelled toward the realization of consciousness. In today's war world, the only revolution is change through peaceful means, through understanding. The philosophy of the master and slave is profound and worthy of future reading and research. But now, to add to the idea, the world is never just black and white. The world may be primarily made up of the black and white condition of masters and slaves, but as in all things, there are gray areas as well. Perhaps this is how people can so easily deny they are in either predicament. Lysander Spooner said, "A man is no less a slave because he is allowed to choose a new master once in a term of years." Perhaps one of the most crucial adjustments to make and inspire others to pursue is to actively distinguish individuals from institutions, and more subtly, constructs of individuation from those of institutionalization. In order to accomplish this important recognition, focused examination is required. One need not to complex theory or philosophy, just a recognition of the institutions and individuals around us. Ask yourself, are the four types of institutions truly serving our society, or are they corrupting situations, or both? Why do I accept it as normal that our nation's leaders lie? That individuals are acting as if they are institutions, hiding behind the protection of institutional veils. In a just world where righteousness was the norm, would corporations need to pirate the rights of individuals, of personhood? Would government take rights away from the people and grant them corporations? Would religious institutions, supposedly of the bastions of charity, be among the world's wealthiest? Thinking of Joel Osteen. Would the media fail to report on major world events while circulating others? Endless repeat. Government corrupts culture, religion corrupts spirituality, corporations corrupt exchange, and media corrupts thinking and intuition around you. The worldly may spark the consciousness that ends the master-slave cycle of corruption. Thank you for coming to the Plain Mundane Show. I'm Alex Aquarius.